Did you know that 10 out of 10 viruses are adamantly against vaccination? Actually, some humans are as well. And so in this unit and the next, we will review concerns people have raised about the safety of vaccines. Let's take a look at this map showing the life expectancy worldwide. Reaching the age of 80 is quite reasonable if you live in what is considered to be a developed country. But the majority of people living on this planet are not so fortunate. Interestingly, it's just in the last 150 years or so that life expectancy has increased so dramatically. Here, take a look at this graph. Most people living in Liverpool, England in 1860 didn't even reach age 50. And 100 years earlier in Breslau, Germany, things were no different. But today, in the UK, you're almost promised to reach 80. While in Mozambique, life expectancy has not improved. Life expectancy has increased for 3 reasons: sanitation, which prevents infection; vaccination, which prevents disease; and medication, which treats disease. So actually, infectious diseases were the most common cause of death, and not NCDs, 150 years ago. So, clearly since Jenner, vaccination has changed the world and for the better. But are we putting our kids at risk? Vaccines, unlike medications, are administered to healthy people, and most often to babies and young children. Does injecting viruses mixed with chemicals into our most precious loved ones make sense? Do vaccines promise protection? Are vaccines without risk? Let's look at the composition of vaccines. Vaccines contain the active ingredient killed, attenuated, or subunit antigen, as well as chemicals that enhance our immune response, called adjuvants. Sometimes preservatives have been used, and finally, one cannot avoid unintended contaminants. All these ingredients are given in a small volume of sterile saline solution. One concern is whether the viral or bacterial component of vaccines is able to cause disease. Are the adjuvants, preservatives, and contaminants toxic and more dangerous than the remedy itself? Like all concoctions we put in our body, there are always risks. Some people are allergic and sensitive to the food they eat, makeup, cosmetics, and deodorant sprays they use. These products may cause reactions like rash or stomach aches. However, in some extreme cases, people who are allergic can go into anaphylactic shock, and if not treated immediately with epinephrine, die. But for the rest of us, we generally continue to use and eat these products. But honestly, vaccines deserve more critical evaluation, as they are totally intended to protect us. So, can licensed vaccines cause infectious disease? The answer is unequivocally no, so long as the active antigen is prepared correctly. Unfortunately, in the very first attempts to commercialize the Salk polio vaccine, there was a terrible accident, known as the Cutter incident. The virus was mistakenly not inactivated with formaldehyde, and thousands of school kids received shots of live polio viruses. Undoubtedly, our worst nightmare. 164 kids were paralyzed, and 10 died from the faulty vaccine. However, since April of 1955, polio vaccine manufacturing is critically regulated and tested and retested for safety. One should gain confidence simply from the enormous numbers. Millions and millions and millions of kids around the world for over 50 years receive their shots, the inactivated polio vaccine, and as a result are fully protected against paralysis. And what about OPV, the live attenuated Sabin vaccine? When polio is attenuated, it mutates until it's no longer dangerous. However, in 1 in 2 million cases, the virus can revert and cause vaccine-associated paralytic poliomyelitis. It is for this reason that OPV was discontinued in the United States in 1997, as well as in most other countries where the chances of encountering disease-threatening polio is remote. There are, however, a number of countries that suffer from polio where OPV is still used. But polio is just about beaten, and eradication should be complete by the year 2020. So long as bacterial toxins like tetanus and diphtheria toxins are inactivated with formaldehyde, these too no longer cause disease. And what about other subunit vaccines? In lessons 3 and 4, we learned that viruses are the ultimate parasites and need to enter the cells to replicate. They cannot replicate if they don't have their DNA or RNA to drive the synthesis of viral proteins and ultimately bud from the infected cell. Thus, it is obvious that single viral proteins cannot cause infection. The subunit vaccines for hepatitis B or papillomavirus contain no more than the isolated single viral protein, and these are produced genetically in harmless baker's yeast. These isolated viral proteins are neither infectious nor dangerous. So, most people agree vaccines do not cause the disease they protect against. That being said, there still may be concern about side effects caused by the additives and contaminants. Let's see.